Hey everyone! If you're here, you are probably wondering if it's possible to become a millionaire in 2025 and how to do it. I'm sure you've seen online people advertising like a quick day trading course to make your first million or some like latest scheme to get rich quick. But I'm here to share with you a formula that won't get you rich quick, but it will get you rich slowly but surely over time. It's a realistic path to significant wealth, but it won't come quickly. I'll be honest with you about what's realistic and what's not, and give you actionable steps that you can put into place starting today in order to get you there. If you're new here, I'm Julie, a former investment banker turned finance coach, with the goal of helping you build your best life and attain financial freedom. First, let's address the question that you're probably wondering to yourself. Is it possible for you to become a millionaire by 2025? Since 2025 is mostly over, the answer to this question for most people is no. Sadly, if you're starting from zero, you need to save about $83,000 a month in order to become a millionaire in a year. Unless you're earning multiple six figures and have the ability to invest this large amount every month, it's probably not realistic for you. But that doesn't mean you can't become a millionaire eventually. But if you use this year and the rest of this decade to build positive habits around money and finances, you can become a millionaire sooner than you think. The most important thing that I've learned in all of my years of studying personal finance is that it's not about some big win or windfall that you get. Instead, it's about building financial strategies, sticking with them, and repeating these simple processes and simple choices over and over. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. So let's start with the foundation. The first thing you wanna do is focus on income optimization. Building significant wealth requires a strong income foundation. While you can't save your way to $1 million on a modest salary, there are strategic ways to increase your earnings potential. The most successful strategy and the easiest one to implement is to focus on developing high-value skills in your current career. Research what skills, capabilities, or certifications someone in your career field would need to generate a 20 to 50% increase in salary. Then take the time to systematically develop those skills. Go after that education or that certification and apply those to your current position. Here are three very practical approaches. The first is career advancement. Instead of waiting for opportunities, create them. Take on a project that showcases your potential. Seek mentorship to help you advance, and consistently deliver results that are above expectations. As mentioned, consider pursuing training or advanced degrees that will continue to help you build on the skill set that you already have and make you more marketable in your field. The second thing is to develop a skill-based side income. And I talk about this in one of my other videos, but essentially you're going to leverage your expertise to make additional income outside of your primary career. Consider consulting or freelancing. The key is building on your existing skill set instead of starting from scratch. Your side hustle will give you additional experience, which will increase your marketability in your 9 to 5 and vice versa. The third thing you can do is to consider a strategic job change. If you're interested in this approach, research jobs in high-paying metropolitan areas that need your skill set and are willing to pay more than what you currently make. An example of this is a friend of mine who was making about $65,000 working for a company in North Carolina where she lived. She instead looked for jobs online and found a remote position that was paying her $110,000 a year. She literally doubled her salary just by finding a job in a higher paying area. The mindset shift here is viewing your income as something that you can actively influence instead of feeling like it's something that you were subjected to. I think that nowadays people are getting a little bit better at this, but I still see some people settling for less than what they deserve. Don't just passively accept a salary or a position that is offered to you. Negotiate, work your way up, and take control of your own income. Now let's discuss your savings rate, or really your investment rate. This is the percentage of your income that you should be putting toward wealth building on a monthly and yearly basis. I always recommend putting 20 to 30% of your income toward wealth building. However, if you are trying to become a millionaire in this next decade, I highly suggest increasing that percentage. If you want to build substantial wealth at a fast pace, you're going to need to put a larger portion of your income toward wealth building. High net worth individuals typically put 40 to 60% of their income toward wealth building. And I know this sounds like a very high percentage, which it can be challenging, but with the right strategy, you can achieve it. The big key is to avoid lifestyle inflation. When you get a raise or you take on a freelance or side project, don't spend that money. What most people do is they get an increase in their salary or they find some side hustle, they start bringing in additional income, and then they spend it immediately. Their lifestyle creeps up in proportion to their income. If you want to get to $1 million this decade, you're going to have to start paying yourself first, avoiding lifestyle inflation, and making sure to save a significant portion of your income. Let's talk about a practical example here. Let's say you earn $80,000 a year and you're aiming to save or invest 50% of your income. That's $40,000 a year, which depending on where you live can actually be pretty significant. That gives you about $3,300 a month to live off of. Yes, in some higher cost of living areas, that's not very much. If you find a way to house hack or do other things to minimize your living expenses, it's not unrealistic. When you pay yourself first, there's a psychological shift. Instead of saving or investing whatever is left over after you spend money on all of the things you want or need, you save money first and then figure out how to pay for everything else second. Taking this approach ensures that you are on track to meet your goals. A really quick and easy hack you can implement here in order to stay on track is to automate things. When you set up automatic transfers to go to savings and investing, you're paying yourself first and you don't even miss that money when it's gone. Next, let's talk about investing your savings strategically. While the latest hot stock or meme coin might sound attractive and trendy, the most reliable path to wealth are the simple, tried and true ones. Instead of focusing on day trading or chasing the latest individual stock, successful long-term investors focused on broad market exposure and a balanced portfolio. There are lots of studies that have been done that show that dead people, yes, dead people, make the best returns. The reason for this is because they're not around to buy, sell, and chase the latest stock on every emotional whim that they have. They literally just buy and hold. The S&P 500 as a whole has averaged about 10% returns over the last several decades, which means if you invest that $40,000 a year from our example for about 15 years, you could reach millionaire status. If you're able to increase your investments to $60,000 a year, you could become a millionaire in less than 11 years. Okay, now let's talk about a very simple systematic approach to investing. First, you're gonna wanna save your 3 to 6 months of expenses in your emergency fund. If you guys have been listening to my videos, you know this by now and how important it is. Your emergency fund provides financial security and it prevents you from having to withdraw from your investments if life happens. The second thing you're gonna wanna do is invest in your employer's 401k and make sure you're hitting their employee match. The reason why you wanna focus on hitting the employer match first is because this is literally free money and you don't want to leave it on the table. The third thing you're going to want to do is focus on your IRA contributions. If you're in a low enough income bracket, consider a Roth IRA. If you don't qualify for a Roth IRA, consider a traditional. I believe the max for 2025 is about $7,000 a year. So after you hit your emergency fund goal and your employer 401k match, focus on maxing out your IRA. After that's done, you're gonna wanna turn your attention to maxing out your 401k. In 2025, I believe the max is a little over $23,000. So once you hit your first 3 priorities, focus on this one next. And if you have that $40,000 a year saving goal, or no matter what your saving goal is, if it's a lot lower, totally understandable, but focusing on getting as much as you can in your 401k as your 4th priority is next. Then, if you're able to max out all of those accounts, you're gonna turn your attention to focusing on your taxable accounts. Taxable accounts are simply non-retirement accounts, accounts that don't give you the tax benefits of saving for retirement. But the good thing about these accounts is it's money that you can access at any time. You can access taxable accounts through a regular brokerage account. For your taxable accounts, you want to make sure you diversify. As mentioned before, you want to get that broad market exposure. You also want to get some exposure to bonds as well as international stocks. Your specific diversification is going to depend on a number of factors, such as your risk tolerance and your age. I'll talk about this more in a later video in detail. If you're not sure where to begin and how to diversify your account appropriately, consider a target date fund for now. Choosing a target date fund minimizes the complexity and avoids you having to try and time the market. So everything up until this point has been your financial foundation. This foundation is key to a successful portfolio. But I'm not going to tell you to stop there. And I'm not going to tell you not to take advantage of all of the opportunities that 2025 has to offer. I would recommend taking some of your money, a small percentage of your money, and investing it into specific opportunities that are probably only around for a limited time. And while they might have higher risk, they also present the opportunity for higher reward. The key here is to balance the two. You don't want to take your entire 40% or 50% of your income that you're contributing to wealth generation and throw it into a trend. Once you have your financial foundation set up, however, it is a good idea to try and capitalize on some of the trends that are in the market today. So what are some of these specific opportunities available in 2025? The first one is obviously AI and automation. Whether you're leveraging it to do a better job, to be more efficient at your 9-to-5, or to enable and enhance your side hustle, or whether you're finding individual companies that you can invest in that you think are going to do well. Investing in AI is definitely a huge opportunity in 2025. The second opportunity that I see in the markets right now, and I alluded to this a little bit earlier, is remote work arbitrage. With so many remote jobs available nowadays, it is easy to live in a low cost of living area or country even and get a remote job that pays you what you would make in a high cost of living metropolitan area. If you can land a position like this, your savings rate could skyrocket, which means you could become a millionaire a lot faster than you could if you were living in a higher cost of living area. The third opportunity I see in 2025 is in real estate. While not all real estate and not all areas are doing well, if there is a dip in 2025, this could mean a potential opportunity for opportunities to buy and hold and sell later. Obviously, this is location dependent and you need to do your research, but anytime markets are moving, there is opportunity. The last opportunity that I'll mention that I see is the skills-based side hustle opportunity. The gig economy, content creation, and the creator economy is booming now more than ever before. If you are able to leverage the internet, social media, and even YouTube to generate income based on things that you know very well and skills that you already have, it could open up a world of opportunity and additional wealth for you. Okay, so I mentioned 4 opportunities that I see in the market. I will also mention 4 things I think you should avoid. The first one is obviously a get-rich-quick scheme. If someone promises you that you can make $1 million by next week or next month, run the other direction. That is unrealistic and it's usually a scam. The second thing is crypto gambling. Yes, you might find a hot meme stock and you might get lucky, but you could also find a hot meme stock and get unlucky. When you invest in things just because people are talking about them, it's a gamble. It's not an investment. There are a lot of tech stocks and cryptocurrencies doing really well nowadays. If you want to invest in them, go for it. But make sure it's a small percent of your portfolio and you don't overweight yourself on one company or one cryptocurrency. Also, make sure you understand the fundamentals of how to weigh whether or not it's a good investment. If you throw all of your money into something that you don't understand just because someone on TV said it was a good idea, you are literally taking a huge risk and you're literally gambling. So just be cautious. And then lastly, lifestyle inflation. As I mentioned earlier, just because you make $100 more a month doesn't mean you need to spend $100 more a month. If you're able to spend an extra $20 a month and invest that $80 extra a month, you can reach millionaire status long before you expect. Okay, so based on all of the information that I've shared, let's talk about a few different specific scenarios. So let's say you are making that $80,000 a year that we talked about earlier, and you are able to save 50% of your income. If you spend the first year or two building your emergency fund, setting up your investments, and automating everything, by year 5, your net worth could be around $300,000 to $500,000. Assuming the typical return of around 10%, you could reach over $500,000 between year 7 and 10, depending on how the markets are doing. And as mentioned earlier, before you reach year 15, maybe as early as year 12, depending on the specific investments you make, you could become a millionaire. In a second scenario, let's say you make $120,000 a year and you were able to save 60% of your income. In this case, you could reach millionaire status between 8 to 10 years from now. And then finally, let's say you're not starting from ground zero. Let's say you already have $100,000 saved. Let's assume a moderate income of $100,000 and a 50% savings rate. With these stats, you could become a millionaire within 6 years. I'm showing you these 3 examples to basically demonstrate that depending on how much you earn, how much you're able to save and invest, and what returns you're able to get on your investments, you have the ability to become a millionaire within this decade. Another key part of this recipe is to remain consistent. Becoming a millionaire in this generation is going to take discipline, delayed gratification, and consistency. But if you decide to make these decisions, you could become a millionaire a lot faster than you think, and these good decisions will serve you far into your future. So, in summary, I've outlined some consistent, disciplined steps that you can take to become a millionaire, no matter where you're starting and no matter how much you earn. I know these steps aren't super glamorous or exciting, but it's the slow and steady, consistent decision making and fundamental strategies that will get you to millionaire status. So, what can you do as a takeaway from this video? First, calculate your savings rate and see where you can make improvements. Next, research 3 concrete ways that you can increase your income this year. Then start building your emergency fund and automating your investments. The difference between people who consistently build wealth and those who don't is not some secret sauce or hidden secret that only some people know. It's consistent discipline over the years. You now have a clear roadmap to get there. So what are you gonna do? If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more practical financial content. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What is your biggest hurdle when it comes to becoming a millionaire? I read all the comments and hopefully I can respond and give you some helpful and practical advice. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.